Buddha Day ceremonies are held in Marikina and Tacloban of the Philippines, each with its own uniqueness. And we meet some young male nurses who have chosen to work at Tzu Chi dialysis centers in Malaysia. Welcome to DaAi Headlines. I'm Siri Su. Thank you for joining us. We begin today's program with reports on Buddha Day ceremonies held in various countries. First, we turn our focus to South Africa. In South Africa, Tzu Chi volunteers organized the Buddha Day ceremony, attended by about 250 people. Since Tzu Chi volunteers have been spreading love locally for more than 20 years, government officials and representatives of the overseas Chinese communities also joined the ceremony to pay tributes to the Buddha. Let's take a look. It is sunny on the day of the Buddha Day ceremony, but the temperature is as low as 7 degrees Celsius. Despite the cold weather, about 250 people still attend the solemn ceremony. The volunteers performed the bell and drum, displaying Tzu Chi's spirit of uprightness and compassion.
If everyone can cultivate compassion and wisdom like the Buddha, the world will become pure land.
We are like a family in South Africa. I hope everyone can get along harmoniously and enjoy prosperity and peace.
Volunteers also help those with mobility issue to pay tributes to the Buddha. Since Tzu Chi volunteers have cultivated love and compassion locally for more than 20 years, many residents are familiar with the significance of the tri-celebration.
With the exception of Mother's Day, maybe every day should be this day. Every day should be the same. So thank you for raising me, and I love you. Can I give you a big hug? Yeah, sure.
For the whole world, whole universe, all of the people in this universe, whatever they like, my wish is just laugh, laugh, laugh. That's why we celebrate Buddha, because he teaches us about love.
As the attendees conduct a walking meditation, they also reaffirm their initial vows to spread love. In Vietnam, Tzu Chi volunteers held a Buddha Day ceremony at Taipei School in Ho Chi Minh City. More than 200 people participated in this event to pay respect to the Buddha as well as to pray for blessings. Let's check out the event.
In preparation of the annual Buddha Day ceremony, Tzu Chi volunteers in Vietnam are busy setting up the venue and practicing the movement. The celebration is held at the Taipei School in Ho Chi Minh City. A total of 242 volunteers and residents participate to honor the Buddha with sincerity.
Every time I attend Tzu Chi activities, I can always calm my mind. Through this ceremony, we can get rid of our worries as well as receive the blessings that the Buddha has brought to us. This helps inspire the goodness in our heart.
The Buddha is right in our heart. That's why we usually say Buddha's heart. The true meaning of the Buddha Day ceremony is to purify our heart.
The Buddha Day ceremony is the Buddhist celebration where goodness is gathered.
Tzu Chi represents the Taiwanese spirit of compassion and benevolence. It is a very important organization. Today I came here in person to calm my mind.
Through this activity, I realized the truth, goodness, and beauty in Buddhism. So I will seize the opportunity to express thanks to my parents. I also hope that more and more people can join with Tzu Chi.
The Buddha Day ceremony not only helps to purify everyone's heart, but also to make the society more harmonious and peaceful.
In the Philippines, Tzu Chi hosted a large-scale Buddha Day ceremony at the Marikina Sports Center. The event was attended by more than 10,000 people, including some local officials, residents, as well as volunteers. All of the participants gathered at the venue to honor the Buddha and express their gratitude. Let's join them there.
The director of the Tzu Chi Philippines chapter, uniqueness, leads the attendees to enter the venue, kicking off this year's Buddha Day ceremony. Local officials have also been invited to attend this annual Buddhist celebration.
To our dear Dharma, Master Cheng Yen, thank you very much for all that you've done, not only to San Mateo, not only to the Philippines, but to the entire world. And thank you for teaching us each day the value of love and compassion.
I hope we will continue to cooperate with Tzu Chi. Actually, I have already met with some Tzu Chi volunteers before. I also asked them how to train the people in the city to establish a volunteer team.
Buddhism is a philosophy, it's a basic way of life of a human being. So spreading Buddhism to everybody is, I think, is a necessity in this troubled world now.
Throughout the day and night, more than 10,000 volunteers and residents wait patiently to arrange themselves information. Regardless of their religion and race, the participants all gather here to honor the Buddha.
Napakaganda kasi talagang
I have learned some life lessons from the teachings of the Buddha. This is really great. We Catholics are always grateful and committed. I believe the world will become a better place to live.
Volunteers also organize a special ceremony for the officials and children to carry out filial piety by washing the feet for seniors.
I feel quite happy that the mayor washed my feet. Thank you, Master Cheng Yen, for continuing to take care of us, especially when there are calamities in Marikina City.
At this day's events, everyone expresses their gratitude to the Buddha and their parents, using a candle in their hands to light up the world and pray for all beings.
As we reported previously, a large-scale Buddha Day ceremony was held at the Marikina Sports Center in the Philippines. To make the celebration a success, many devoted volunteers worked diligently to get everything prepared prior to the event. Let's take a look.
Volunteers pick out the flowers for the Buddha bathing ceremony. They put down the boxes carefully because inside them are the Buddhas. It is these devoted volunteers that make the Buddha Day ceremony at the Marikina Sports Center a success.
yung pagtulong talaga kasi ang Tzu Chi mostly sa
Tzu Chi has been helping the less fortunate, but they never ask for something in return, so we should do what we can to help.
Tulungan ng foundation kung sino man yung dapat na matulungan nang walang anumang hinihinging kapalit.
To reciprocate Tzu Chi's endless dedication, everyone does their best to get everything well prepared for the Buddha Day ceremony, in hopes to make the event a successful one.
After Typhoon Haiyan devastated parts of the Philippines, Tzu Chi volunteers have been going to Tacloban to hold the Buddha Day ceremony. This is the second year that Tzu Chi volunteers hold the Buddha Day ceremony in Tacloban. This year's ceremony included volunteers' bell and drum performance and a rice distribution, which benefited more than 3,000 impoverished families.
This is the second year when Tzu Chi volunteers hold a Buddha Day ceremony in Tacloban. Over 3,000 people gather at the city gymnasium to celebrate it. Volunteers give a performance with drums and bells in Tacloban. They do not have the right tools, but they still do it with determination. choir composed of young people sings a song about mother's love. Many mothers weep while hugging their children when their children give them flowers. 64-year-old Maria is emotional when her two daughters wash her feet for the first time.
One of my daughters lives in Manila and the other is in a small town in Samar province, and I live in Tacloban, so we don't meet very often. However, I'm glad that they're here by my side today.
We hardly celebrate the Mother's Day at home, so this is the first time for me and my sister to wash Mom's feet. When I was washing them, I realized the responsibility of being a daughter, and that is when Mom is alive. I have the responsibility to look after her.
After the feet washing event came the ritual to honor the Buddha. The participants and the volunteers may have different faiths, but they feel the same about praying for peace on earth.
Although we and Tzu Chi volunteers are from different places and have different faith, they still came to us with blessing. After Typhoon Haiyan, they still care about us, so we're grateful to their love and we like to pass it forward.
When there's love inside us, we will be able to bring peace to the world, reduce much crime, and prevent many bad things from happening.
Tacloban was once heavily damaged in 2013 by Typhoon Haiyan. 4 years have passed, but the volunteers still go there helping them. After the Buddha Day ceremony is over, 3,690 poor families bring rice home to extend the power of love.
In Malaysia, there has been an increase in the number of male nurses in the past few years. Tzu Chi dialysis centers have also begun to sponsor male students who attend nursing school since 2000. As a result, more male nurses have chosen to work at Tzu Chi dialysis centers. Let's meet some of them.
In Malaysia, from 2007 to 2014, the number of male nurses has increased 4 times. Tzu Chi Dialysis Center in Malaysia have begun to sponsor young men to attend nursing school since 2000. As a result, more male nurses have begun to work here. Among them, Yu Qingyi has come to work at the dialysis center since graduating from nursing school.
While working as a nurse, when we need to help carry heavier dialysis patients or move heavy objects, male nurses are very useful.
Choosing a job dominated by females, these big boys actually have their own soft spots.
We need to spend more time accompanying them and teaching them repeatedly. This is one of our responsibilities.
After I gradually understood and did the work, I realized I've taken the correct path.
I feel a sense of treatment when the patients get better. Look, they were in wheelchairs when they came here, but now they are able to walk.
We are at the age when we do not compromise. We want to find the answers and see what we hope to see. Therefore, I kept telling myself I cannot lose my passion.
Stroke patients who do not undertake follow-up rehabilitative care may be forced to go back to the hospital for more rehabilitation treatment. The faster that patients are able to return to everyday life, the better. For this reason, Taichung Tzu Chi Hospital has also set up a post-acute care center. Recently, administrators from Taipei Veteran General Hospital and another hospital paid a special visit to observe its operations.
这个吃便当一定都会有的橡皮筋，那我们就可以依照病人的需求是要加几条。
These recycled items, such as elastic bands, are captivating the interest of these visitors. Many are spending an extra moment to see these elderly people undertake these rehabilitative exercises. Taichung Tzu Chi Hospital is working with the National Health Insurance Bureau to establish this post-acute care center for stroke patients. Administrators from Taipei Veterans General Hospital, along with 30 healthcare executives, paid a special visit.
The flow and the facilities are special, as the service staff have used some ingenuity. This has impressed us. As visitors today, no matter if they're from private hospitals or Veterans General Hospital, are all deeply inspired.
Both hardware and software and personnel have been put into place for acute post-care rehabilitation center. Many hope it will help smooth follow-up home care and long-term care.
After returning home, there may be more barrier-free spaces, so we want to establish these facilities so that when they go home, they can move more freely about.
In addition to helping those suffering from strokes, care is also extended to other patients suffering from disabilities.
In our 6 Tzu Chi nursing care homes, we took the lead in setting up rehabilitation centers to follow the trend of follow-up care.
Putting attention on follow-up care can reduce the need to return to the hospital and lessen the burden on medical institutions, families, and social services.
In Jiayi City, Daling Tzu Chi Hospital has worked with the local volunteers to hold a special class for dementia sufferers. At the recent class, Tzu Chi volunteers asked the children of the seniors to serve tea to them and express their gratitude. Although some seniors can no longer recognize their children will always remember the selfless giving of their parents.
With creativity and skills, the used plastic bags have been turned into beautiful carnations. These seniors are members of the special class for dementia sufferers. With the help of Tzu Chi volunteers, their families express their love and gratitude to them.
Although I care about my mother very much, I seldom tell her I love her or hug her. That is why I almost cried earlier.
Due to dementia, many seniors no longer recognize their children. Despite that, for their children, they always remember this special occasion and the love of their parents.
Taiwan produces some 20 million tons of industrial waste every year, of which the domestic technology industry produces sludge that contains high concentrations of heavy metals and toxic chemicals. Unfortunately, the waste disposal industry illegally dumps this waste, potentially causing pollutants to contaminate the drinking water of millions of people. In the first part of our special series reports, we investigate waste produced by technology companies and how to avoid the threat of secondary pollution.
Industrial pollution has been found at the 100-meter mark on this farmland. We used the instrument to measure the water quality with a pH value of 12, showing the water quality is strongly alkaline. Slag from a steelmaking plant combined with bottom slag from incinerators has been explored by DaAi TV, and now we look at sludge generated by electroplating plants. This red liquid is strong acid found in this water used for electroplating. Taiwan has some 474 different sites polluted by industrial waste, with 190 such areas yet to be properly dealt with. Pollution coming from slag, bottom slag, sludge, and electronic waste. Electronic waste, when disposed, causes heavy metals to turn the land blue and green. Over the past 4 years, DaAi TV has long been concerned about the effects of environmental pollution, tracing slag and incinerator slag. Now Taiwan's land is not subject to only traditional waste, but also that which is produced by technology. Semiconductor manufacturers produce a type of sludge that is different from traditional electroplating and textile industries, though the harm cannot be underestimated. This is a farm on Pingdong's Ligang Township, where a large pit has been dug and 600 tons of sludge waste have been buried here. On March 2014, an environmental inspection team found this waste illegally abandoned here.
We go to track its source and found that it came from Xinying Technology, who sold the waste to a company who brought it here.
Before this case was exposed, Xinying was a domestic waste processor for technology manufacturers and had enjoyed a good track record, with few suspecting it would engage in such unscrupulous disposal.
This isn't normal soil as there's a white powder. It was mixed with construction waste and dumped here.
After discovering this pollution, the government ordered the company to clear away their own pollution. But clearing this area doesn't stop the damage caused by heavy metals.
My current test finds the soil zinc content is probably 1700 ppm. Copper is probably in excess of 400 ppm, which far exceeds our soil standards.
After the removal of sludge, some heavy metals polluted the land, which still exceeds soil control standards.
The Xinyi sludge case should have two conditions. The first is if I didn't treat the waste and simply dumped it. The second is that it was treated, but there was no place to put it, as this other company dumped it.
Legislators found Xinyi collected $95 per ton for sludge processing fees from a semiconductor manufacturer, but after treatment, it classified the material as artificial aggregate, which it sold for 50 US cents per ton, with a transportation subsidy of $13 per ton. This means that some $13 in costs were needed per ton.
Sludge processing companies insisted they have simply sold this product, so the fine is just between $180 and $1,000.
Taiwan's science and technology industry generates sludge which is handed over to the reprocessing company, as no semiconductor manufacturers deal with their own sludge.
Enterprises are the source of this waste and should take some responsibility rather than simply entrusting it to your processing company. You cannot remove your responsibility entirely.
Removing their responsibility leads to land contamination and will take a while to restore. We personally visited Xinying's sludge processing area to further investigate.
A lot of sludge actually looks like sand, and when the mine gravel is used as backfill.
This is Pingdong's Gaoshu Township, where this contaminated sludge area covers an area of 4 hectares. The gravel plant behind me isn't far from a tributary to the Gaoping Creek and the Laonong Creek, which are close to reservoirs, with many fearing pollution of drinking water for local residents. In 2015, about 2 kilometers on either side of the Laonong Creek, 400 tons and 600 tons of sludge were dumped. Although the area has been cleaned, some fear heavy metal could penetrate the groundwater, with the Laonong Creek being in an upstream tributary of the Gaoping Creek, which could affect the water of upwards of 1 million people.
We are near where this sludge was dumped and checking the groundwater as well as downstream creek water, and didn't find any water quality pollution.
When it rains, these will naturally go through this gravel layer and then spread to the surrounding around and contaminate the water and probably pollute the creek.
Unscrupulous businesses have abandoned this industrial sludge near our water supply. Should a typhoon lead to flooding, this evidence could be washed away and further be a public health hazard. In our next report, we investigated a waste reprocessing company to see how they avoid being caught by the government.
In Pingdong, more than half of the residents at Christian Bethany Home have lost contact with their mothers. To encourage them to express their love for their mothers, Christian Bethany Home let the residents draw carnations and other pictures in its art class. We'll leave you with these images at the end of the program. Thank you for joining us. Goodbye.